All right, let's see. Yeah, brightness 140. So I guess I do have to manipulate the brightness manually now. Okay, I have to pay attention to that from now on. All right, so I thought about this, and I guess I'm gonna have to do this. uh, where to start? I don't know. Um, well, I don't know. I guess um, I'm not a believer. I guess I should say that right out the bat, even though I'm going to get a little preachy here. A lot of the people that, ugh, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Okay, well, this is so bad. If, do you, some people vote for Trump, or they have been voting for Republicans their entire life, and they, why? Even though you're poor, you you vote for. Why would you do that? Why would you vote for someone who says all these? Why would you do that? Why would you cast a vote like that? I mean, I don't understand the mentality and all this stuff. And then, I mean, are you just not paying attention to what these people are doing? And how old are you when you're casting these votes? Personally, I mean, I'm 40 now, and I didn't pay attention too much when I was casting my first rounds of votes. I just cast my votes for Democrats because I just knew implicitly that Democrats more than Republicans took care of working people. I mean, I just knew that because my mom and my dad started me off knowing that. I mean, and I knew from popular culture and stuff that they supported unions, and they supported pretty much everything that goes along with all that stuff. I mean, anything that a working middle class and below, economically speaking, would want. Um, So yeah. So the only thing a Republican has to offer is, you know, if you're white and rural, is do you not like brown people and people that aren't Christian? Vote for me. It seems that's what me being being raised as a, you know, what they call secular, non-theist, and I'm white, but whatever. I don't really subscribe to that kind of aligning yourself along ethnic bounds philosophy. I never have, and I was not taught to think in that line, even though I was educated to be a liberal. I was not educated to think of myself as white and align myself in that on that team. It was just, you know, if you're asked to fill in a checkbox, yeah, check white, but otherwise you're a person. So I don't know. My dad was from Alabama. He grew up here in Alabama. Not here, Texas, but here, Alabama, South. And he always said the South was the dumb part of the country. And I didn't really understand exactly what he meant until I moved to Arkansas and now I'm in Texas. And I think I do understand because when I moved to Arkansas, yeah, there's I mean, and in Texas too, there's just a general, I mean, growing where I grew up and moving down in Arkansas and Texas, you can just kind of feel the drop in the, I want to call it intellectualism, but it's not like everybody up there was an intellectual. It's just there was people were just smarter. I mean, it's just like the bar was higher for what you knew. Um, Even if, I don't know, like the suburb up there in Wisconsin, I lived in a suburb of Milwaukee, and the suburb up there and the suburb down here, because I was living basically in a suburb in Arkansas, and it was just like, it just felt like when I was living in a suburb in Arkansas, it felt like I was living out in a farm town where people were just, they had a haze over their face, and it was just like, it's not to be disparaging or anything, it's just to like lay it out as bluntly as possible. It's just some, I think, I don't know, whatever. So there's that, first of all. But the preachy thing that I want to get to is, all of you talk about Jesus all the time. And it's really depressing to have have all of you in this Bible Belt talk a big talk, and you really do not follow what you talk at all. Um, the Democrat secular people follow, according to what I know about Jesus, follow him, follow the teachings a lot better than you guys do. So in essence, the people that aren't Christians follow the Christian teachings a lot better than you do. So I don't know. You should really have. There should be really something in that concerns you, I think, as supposed believers, that you just don't want to maybe take that to heart in your personal life, but on a larger scale, you micro it in your personal life, but on a macro scale, you are just not willing to accept. Like with the immigration thing, you're like, well, we can't have these Mexicans in here taking advantage of all our social programs. Well, what would Jesus do? I think he would love to have as many neighbors, because that's what they are. Mexico is our neighbor. I mean, as much as you don't want to admit it, Mexico is our neighbor. And our other neighbor is, Peru and Argentina and Brazil. And our other neighbor is all the countries in Europe and Africa and every person on the planet. And so, guess what? That includes every Muslim and every Hindu, every Jainist, every Buddhist, and yes, every non-believer too. And you are supposed to treat them all the same as you would any member of your family. So I don't really understand why you are not living up to your so-called prophets' teachings. Well, whatever. I mean, anyways. There's that, you could say we don't have the money to do all this. Well, we had plenty of money we had and have plenty of money to give to rich people all the time, year after year after year, and we're doing it year after year after year. I mean, you can change that by electing different people and supporting different people to run for local, state, and federal offices. I mean, supposedly we have people that are jobless. Why don't you run some of them? I mean, you supposedly know some people that are good. Why don't you nominate some of them to run? I'll bet one of them is smart enough to run that you think is a decent someone. You should get together in one of your churches and nominate someone that isn't a suit, and have them run. Remember, they don't have to be. Someone doesn't have to be a lawyer or businessman or something like that. They just have to be someone decent, someone that isn't full of hate or cowardice. And they can do a good job. Someone willing to learn. They're being a representative for the first time. It might take a little while for them to get caught up, but whatever. Hopefully, you'll pick someone that is a little immune to the corruption and uh, won't be easily fooled. But again, what do you know? There'll be mistakes made. So, but you're going to have to choose. If you keep electing the same people, you're going to have the same problems. So, you're going to have to make a different choice. Yeah. I don't know what you want to do, folks. And this, of course, does not really only apply to Arkansas and Texas or wherever. It applies to anyone, anywhere that feels like maybe they are not being represented. And anyone that now has more free time now that they're unemployed. Maybe you're bored and, well, that might be the worst thing they could have ever done, is started firing a whole bunch of people because, well, now you have more time to figure out who's in office and who shouldn't be in office. And now, instead of having to work all that time, you can go out, do your due diligence, and go apply for those how many jobs you can find and apply for, and then spend some time phoning your representatives, each one once a day. And then after that, you can say, well, I don't like these jerk offs. I'm going to find someone to replace them. Maybe leave that message on their answering machine. Be like, well, I don't really like you, so I'm going to look for someone to replace you in the next election. By the way, tell all your friends to leave the same message too. Just a hint. A little bargaining tactic. I don't know. I thought I had something more inspirational, but I don't, as usually is when I try to force something into a video, because I don't like preparation. I think it's getting darker outside because this started off brighter and now it's darker. So awesome. think I got something in my eye. Doesn't that just bother you? When you get something in your eye and you're like, well, I can't scratch it because, then the problem just gets worse. So I gotta let it sit until it goes away. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. We have to just wait and see. Well, I don't know. I am gonna wait and see if something better comes to me. And uh, wow. Let's see. 140, 150. There we go. That's a little brighter. That's probably going to be about it for the nighttime viewing pleasure. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to watching videos myself. And when I think of something more important to say, I will leave it for my future self. And a virtual avatar, because no one watches this, both of those.